Welcome to the podcast. I'm Stacey DeFord.
And I'm Lynn Montemayor.
And of course, we want to thank our sponsor, Schoolcraft College. Now, again, we don't know what's going to happen with college in the fall. A lot of colleges still haven't made decisions. But so if you have a student who just graduated high school, or if you have a student who was away and now they're trying to figure out where they want to go and what they want to pursue, check out Schoolcraft College. First of all, their Learning Support Service Center is a great resource for transitioning to online learning. Like my son was taking classes and then he had to come home and like he said, online classes aren't my favorite thing. So I directed him there, like follow their tips, get some suggestions, like find out what you need to do to become a better online learning. Unfortunately, it looks like a lot of our classes are going to be online, at least partially for a while, but they can help you out. They also have a million classes online. You can pursue an IT program. You can try out new hobbies, learn new things. They have classes on how to build a drone. So check them out online, schoolcraft.edu.
On a side note there about that, I was talking over the weekend to someone who used to be a high school teacher of mine. High school teacher. We've stayed in contact. We're friends. She has since moved to Florida a long time ago, but we were talking about what my daughter's plans will be when she graduates because she's a junior.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about things. And she said, "You want to know what? Did you think about Schoolcraft College? I have been so impressed with what they have done over the last, decade of years." She said it's so impressive, and she's a teacher. And I said, "It's funny you say that. I do happen to know a lot about Schoolcraft, and we have talked about that." But
that's incredible.
And she's in Florida and had moved years ago, so
wow,
it's got a great reputation.
Yes, it really does, and it's a great option. Even if even if you just start out there and it helps you move on to somewhere else, or even if you're just taking classes for fun, like I did.
Yeah, exactly.
They've got a lot to offer.
Yep, the culinary. I took that for fun too. Just a cooking class there. Yeah, that was fun.
All right. Well, speaking of a lot to offer,
yes.
Did we both do our homework?
Oh my gosh. I don't even feel like this one was homework because from the first time, like I said, last time we talked about the other 2 of the 4 agreements, I have listened to the book over and over, and I really want it to be like just ingrained in my brain. Like I want to be that, that's just naturally how I think.
Yeah.
Not that I'm thinking about, I have to think that way. I just think it makes such a good point. And, I had talked to my friend about it. And ironically, she said the same thing I said. When I talked to you, I said, I wish someone had told me about this book 30 years ago. And her first thought was, I got to get this to my kids who are like 20 some years old. And I said, and that was the second thing I said, like, I need my kids to read this because this is like a foundation for your life.
It really is. And I think I told you, I gave it to my kids when they were teens. I think they both skimmed it or looked at it. I should just give them a copy of the book right now. Like maybe I'll add that to both of their birthday presents this year. And even if they don't pick it up right away, at least they'll have it.
Yeah.
So, so if they want to look at it, it's there.
Yeah. And it's not a big book. It's an easy read. And like I said, I really like listening to it because the guy who does the reading is just has a very good, like forceful in a positive way sounding voice.
Oh, it's an actor. What is his name? Peter?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
it's funny. I was going to look it up and I didn't think to do that because I was like, gosh, who is this guy?
Yeah, it's an actor. I'll have to look it up. Peter, rather. He's great.
Yeah.
So the other 2, so last week we talked about don't take anything personally and don't make assumptions.
Yes.
And so this week, the other 2 agreements are be impeccable with your word and always do your best.
Yes.
And I feel like we started out, well, which is kind of like us with the easy ones.
Yeah, exactly. Or actually the ones that were probably bothering us the most.
Yes.
Because even with being impeccable with your word, it doesn't just mean like be honest, right?
Right.
One of the things that really that stuck out to me was something that I feel like I didn't know I was doing something right. But when someone was going to work for someone or going to work with someone new and they'd say, well, what do you know about Mr. or Mrs. X, and I'd say, I don't really want to say anything because then it gets in your brain.
Yes.
And you'll think that. And it's in this book. It used the example of a teacher, if you run into me on campus and I said, oh, you have Mr. H, oh, he's a jerk, and he's lazy. Well, now you already have that. And now, no matter how much this guy you might like, you're thinking everything he does, that was lazy. That was the power of the word can affect
Exactly.
someone so much that I don't like to put things in people's heads. Like I want them to get their own opinions about people and things before I say anything.
Yeah, and I the power of the word, because one thing it made me think of, like, words are so powerful, and if you think about, like, in every mythology story and in every fairy tale, which, those are the stories that humans started telling each other when humans started telling each other stories, and those
Mhm.
are the ones that have lasted, and
Mhm.
a lot of them involve spells, and spells
Mhm.
are just words.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
the curses that, like,
Yep.
the curse witch put on Cinderella, she
Mhm.
used words. So, like,
Yes.
when people want to harm each other, if you and look throughout time, they use words. And if you start thinking about it that way, it's like, wow, they're so powerful.
Yeah, they even
Like, if you
said
look at the
he
no, go
even
ahead.
said in the he even said in the book, if you run into someone, you say, your color looks off. It looks like it's like the color of someone with cancer. Like that person can develop cancer the next year because they're so now thinking, do I have cancer? Is it cancer? Gosh, she's right. It kind of does look like, I got to get this checked out. It's like you can just make someone's mind, skew that way with your word, like you're saying wait, what did you just call them? The fairy, what are they?
Fairy tales, yeah,
Yeah,
or
no,
mythology.
the the curses or
Spells.
whatever. Spells. Thank you, Stacy. We should turn this
It's
into a game show when we're older. I'll try to spill the words. You try
4
to guess what
words.
I'm saying. Yes. But yes, that's what it is. It's all power of the mind. So be
Is the
impeccable
mind.
with your word. Hmm?
Well, and that means, use your words carefully,
Yes.
or he goes into a whole thing, and he breaks down the word impeccable from the Latin, and so basically the word impeccable means without sin.
Yes.
He's he describes sin as harming yourself.
Yeah,
Like, that is
yourself.
the yes, and
I
that is
wrote
the
that
biggest.
down.
Did you?
Yeah.
Very good.
Hmm. It says, like, oh my gosh, it's funny. I was just open right up to this, but it says, anything that you do that goes against yourself is a sin. When you judge or blame yourself, that's a
Yeah.
sin, you know?
So when I was reading, this is what I wrote down, getting back to the curses and the word is a force. And then I wrote, imagine everything you say magically becomes a reality the minute you say it. Like, think about your words being that powerful.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you be like, if that were true, wouldn't you be much more careful with what you said?
Yes.
Like, everything you said to your children, everything you said to the people you loved, everything you said to so much more careful. If you knew your words had that power, well,
Hmm.
they do.
Exactly. Well, it's just like the saying, watch what you wish for, right? Because people say
Mhm.
things off the cuff and then all of a sudden it happens in a weird way. And it's like you put the word out there, it's like what you were
Yep.
saying, and then it happens in a way that you didn't mean it to happen. But that's how powerful the word is. And it was just like, and before I read the book, when it said be impeccable with your word, I thought at the beginning it was just going to be about like, just always be truthful.
Uh-huh.
That's what I thought it was. I wasn't taking it so like the effect that I can have on other people when it has nothing to do with truth or lies. It's just something I'm saying to someone, how it can affect them so much more than I might say it and never think about it again. And it's, stuck on them, and it
Well,
forces them to
it
change the
is,
way they think about
and
themselves.
you bring up another good point, because there really is no truth and there is no lie, because the things I say are just my opinions.
Right.
They're not the truth. And the things
Yes.
you say are just your opinions.
Hmm. Well, and he talked a lot about how like gossip
Yes.
is like the worst. That's the poison. And that's one of the big points with being impeccable with your word. Gossip is just like it's many times opinion.
Mhm.
Many times, something you've never seen firsthand, you heard it from someone else, you tell someone, now that person that you just told thinks something that might or might not be true about another person. And he just talks a lot about how that is just, that should not exist at all in the words, that you should not involve yourself with gossip at all. And
Yes.
it's true, obviously, we all know that, right? But I
Oh,
mean,
of course.
but of course it happens. I
Well,
try.
and that leads to the fourth agreement, which we also need to discuss, which is always do your best,
Hmm.
which sounds, I don't know about you,
Yeah.
exhausting,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word.
But okay, it's funny you say that, because I was thinking, when you do stuff, aren't you always setting out to do your best? Like, I don't like go think I'm gonna go fill the dishwasher and I'm gonna do it in a way that hopefully like all the dishes break, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm hopefully gonna do it
No,
to
but
the
I
to
think a
the
lot
best
of
of my
people,
ability.
I don't know if I always do things to the best of my ability, though. I think sometimes I do things just to get them done.
Well, so he talked a lot about, like, okay, I'm not saying this is about you, but this was, for some people, it might be their job,
Yeah.
right? They go there because there's a reward at the end, the paycheck, and they
Mhm.
have bills to pay. But the entire time they're there, they're just there to get the
Yeah.
paycheck at the end. They're looking forward to the 2 days they're going to have off. And that's all they do. From the time they walk in, they're looking forward to the weekend and the paycheck. They're not really there because they love it or want to be there.
Mhm.
So, therefore, are they really doing their best, or are they doing what needs to get done?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
So
and
yes, when you think about it like that, that is exhausting. Like, if I was doing something I hated all the time, and at the same time I was internally fighting with myself to make sure I was doing the best I possibly can at something I can't stand,
yeah.
that would be a lot of stress.
Yeah, what I found helpful was when he explained that always doing your best doesn't mean doing things perfectly, and that your best changes on a day to day or hour by hour basis.
Hmm.
Like, my best today is not going to be my best tomorrow.
Well, he
There's
said
going to,
it depends, like, on how you feel.
yeah.
Maybe you're not feeling well, or something happened to you that day. But I thought the part that really hit home for me in that chapter was, using Forrest Gump as the example. Because Forrest Gump, he said, didn't always have the best ideas, but he always did his best. And he
Yes.
was never expecting a reward at the end. So he just lived and did what made him happy. And what made him happy was, doing his best. If he set a goal, he did it,
Hmm.
but he was never thinking of the end game or what he was getting out of it. It was just, the ping pong. He didn't even know why he was winning or why the presidents were seeing him. He was just enjoying playing ping pong,
Yeah.
and that he didn't always have like great ideas, but whatever he was doing, he put all he had into it.
Yeah. I remember reading that when my kids were younger, and my daughter was a figure skater then, and she was competitive.
Yeah.
And I knew she was never gonna be an Olympic athlete too, and so I really tried to make sure that she enjoyed it every step of the way, instead
Yeah.
of it becoming something that she was doing for the reward, like for
Yeah.
the medals or for passing the tests or for whatever. Um, and I really think I remember reading this and really focusing on that for her, like, don't
Mhm.
push that, like, don't let it become something she does for the reward. And she still skates to this day.
Well,
She
that's good.
she's almost 25 years old, and she still loves skating, and now she coaches younger kids.
Oh, that's great.
And I really feel like that is, and it was because I think I went in with that intention, and I helped her go in with that intention, that if this is something you enjoy, you do it, and you do it as long as you enjoy it.
See, the problem I kind of had with that was, if you are someone that people would think that would call you highly competitive, you
Mhm.
know, this chapter was a little bit hard for me because I was taking it a little bit different. Like, I was like thinking doing my best means like I gotta like be the best at everything, and win everything, and it's not even remotely close to the point he's trying to get across. but because I
Exactly.
have this like competitive thing in my brain, and you bring up the sports stuff with the kids, like, yes, I always wanted to be the mom that was like, you know, have fun and do all this. But when you get really competitive, like your daughter was, and
Mhm.
my kids are in hockey, you kind of get to that point where I was more like, if you did your best, you know, it
Mhm.
that's all I can ask. But I have to say I would get like super like competitive and get like bummed out if it for myself too, like in things I did, but the kids too. Like if I felt like, oh, it wasn't their best day, it wasn't, it was like the competition part would take over, and I'd forget the part to say, oh, wait, have fun. As long as you're having fun.
Yeah.
And we would hear other parents sometimes say that and say, don't, because we lost. That's why they're saying as long as you had fun, you know what I mean? Like we get so mad. It was like, no, it should just be about if everyone just did their best, you know, and I'm reading another book right now that you're reading too, Atomic Habits.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just like basically, and they talk about that cycling team. And it's like if everyone just improved a little bit more and just did their best, everything would be better, right? So if you just
Right.
did your best at everything, and it even says in the Four Agreements, it makes everything in your life that you're doing better. You're in love with
Yes.
everything
Yeah.
because you are feeling fulfilled inside. And that's why I'm like, I just keep listening to this. If I'm on walks, if I'm I just keep listening to this book over and
Well,
over.
I'm gonna recommend something else to you too. Like, I've got my good copy here, the Four
Oh,
Agreements companion book, and
oh,
I don't remember when I got this, but I'm going through and it like you answer questions and like how would so like what social masks do you wear around others? And this
well, that's a much different question now.
I know, right? Well,
Yeah.
yeah, true. Um, but so one of the things I wrote in here, it said, "What would it be like to express who you really are?" And it says, "If I expressed who I really am," and I wrote, "I would be scared of myself," which I
Oh,
don't even know what that means
that's what
now.
I was just going to say. Wait, when did you do this? You mean you wrote that out
Oh gosh,
years ago?
years ago, like a decade ago.
So you don't even know what that, because tell me what your first thought was when you saw
That
that you
I
wrote that.
don't know that I'm not using all the power and the abilities I have.
Wow.
Yeah, that I would be, um, that I would be a force if I let that.
Yeah. Wait, read it again because I'm going to tell you how
Oh,
I took it, unless I want to, because
okay, wait,
I,
let me
I
find
took it totally different.
really? Um,
Hmm.
okay, if I expressed who I really am, I would be scared of myself.
See, I thought you meant I'd be scared of myself because I am a force. Like if you would be scared of you
No,
because you
yeah,
are
that's what
so.
I mean. That's exactly what I mean.
Oh, I thought you meant like you were scared that you weren't using all of your stuff to be that force.
No, if I expressed who I really am, I would be using all that. So yeah, that's exactly what I meant. I would be scared of myself because I know I would, and we all would. It's not just
Yeah.
me. Anybody would be. If you
So you
really expressed yourself and let yourself be who you really are and do all these things, then anybody's a force.
But isn't that what the like four agreements is kind of, if you do that, that's who you are then? Because it
Exactly.
basically is releasing yourself from what I got out of it as a whole too. It was like almost the permission to release yourself from all the judgment and beating up that I'm doing of myself.
Oh, definitely.
Like that's what I really keep listening to it for over and over again. How he keeps saying,
Yeah,
like, but it's like like we talked earlier, it's a sin to like keep judging myself, keep doubting myself, keep blaming myself. You know what I mean? And
exactly.
if everyone could let themselves off the hook a little bit more and follow these four agreements, I think it'd be like a super. I think we like healing. Like it just feels like a weight lifted off when I listen to this guy.
I
And I've already told, like, I can't even tell you how many people I've told
Peter
since.
Coyote. That's the
Thank
answer.
you,
I know.
Peter Coyote.
I knew I would have it. Okay, wait, there was another section, that uh, because there's a great section, at the back of this called "A Conversation" with
Okay.
Don Miguel and the author, and, hang on, Why did I? Oh no, here it is. Sorry, I'm not looking at the right thing. Okay. If I look at myself in the mirror and say I look ugly, that is going to make me feel bad. But if I
Yeah.
look in the mirror and say I look beautiful, then I'm going to feel good. Now, this is the best part. It doesn't matter if it's true. It's just a choice. You can choose happiness or you can choose to suffer. That's the whole point. And I swear, when I read that, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, even if I look at myself in the mirror in the morning and go, oh, you look terrible, I'm going to feel terrible all day.
Yes.
And it doesn't, and if somebody says to me later, oh, you look great, maybe I won't even believe them. Maybe then I'll start to think, oh, that person is lying to me.
Wait, no, you just nailed it. Has this ever happened to you when you've gone out and you thought you did look like I'm looking pretty good today, and then someone walks up and goes, "Are you okay? You look super tired." Well, the whole thing that I thought I looked good.
Yeah.
Now all I did is focus on that person, and the rest of the day I feel bad about myself.
Right.
It's happened so many times, and it's just like when you're just telling me that's exactly what this guy's talking about. I just like I tell the story all the time. I used to go to work and I think I got my makeup on, did my hair, pretty good, and then someone's like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Why? Are you looking, like you're not feeling well or something?" The rest of the day, everyone that came in, I'm like, "Do I look like I'm sick?" Like, but before I wasn't saying to people, "Do I look pretty?" Yeah, but here I am, right? Like,
it can
"Hey,
go
I'm
the other
having
way.
a good day. Don't you agree?" It
Yes,
was
but
like
it can
never
also
like
go the
that.
other way.
Yes,
No,
and you're
so
right. So I know what you're saying. I got to look at myself and tell myself that.
okay, but the bigger point is what you tell yourself is
Yes,
the reality, because
yes,
you are neither beautiful nor ugly. You
right,
are neither sick looking nor healthy looking.
right. Because it's all everyone's opinion.
Exactly.
Yes,
And once you start, and I know that's like a weird, I
that's
like
why I have to
video
listen to
here
this
because
a
I
lot.
can use like my hands to talk. And it's like,
Yeah, yeah. No,
okay,
that's why I have to listen to it so much because
I
I
did
want.
not look
I like it.
attractive doing that.
Well, it looked good. I liked it.
But when you start to look at it that way, like it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
because there was somebody I used to work with who would pull that, "Oh, you look tired" thing a lot. And I eventually realized that they were just doing, it was a power thing. Like if they
Yes.
told me, because they didn't say I looked bad. They
Right.
didn't say, it was more like the little head tilt sympathy. "Oh, you look tired. Are you okay? Oh, poor you. Didn't you get enough
Wow.
sleep?" And it's like, you know what? I don't need to buy into that. I don't
No,
need
but
to, sorry, you think I look tired. This is just my face.
yeah, this is it. Yeah.
It's all
But
I
that's
got
what
to
I'm
work
saying.
with.
That's why I wished I had read this book 30 years ago
I know,
because
right?
now when that happens, I know that I could be like, "Really? I didn't think I looked tired." And I know I can probably walk through the rest of the day and not focus on that.
Yeah,
But before I used to just my whole thought process would and I'd feel bad. And then you talk about doing your best when you feel kind of like down and you're
right?
feeling like, "Do I look like is everyone coming here think I look tired or sick?" Then you even start to convince yourself, "Well, I do have a little scratchy throat." You know
And
what I
what did
mean?
that person do to you? They used their words and they
Yes.
cursed you to feel bad.
Yes. Yes.
It's
I
full
mean,
circle.
100%. And it's just 4 agreements. It's just 4.
It
That's
is.
like it's just a foundation to work from, and that's the crazy thing.
Yeah, it
Eh
really is.
yeah.
Like it's very simple in to look at. But
Yeah.
then the more you think about it, it can, make your head spin a little.
Well, because I'm reading it so late. That's why I said the kids have to read it and start getting their brain to think because you're
Yeah,
right. Like my brain is going like, what like when you just said you're not beautiful, you're not ugly. And it's everyone's but that's not and it even says in there how we kind of are conditioned when were brought up.
oh,
You
yeah.
know, but it's not my parents' fault, it's not your parents' fault, it's how they were conditioned bringing up. "Oh,
Exactly.
this is the idea of beautiful. This is the idea of unattractive. This is the idea of bad. This is the idea of good." But
Yep.
like we talked about on the last one, who's to say what's bad or good or beautiful or ugly. You know what I mean? You just got
It's
to be happy
all
within yourself.
it's all just agreements that we as society make. And think like, okay, talking about beauty, think about how those agreements have changed. The standards of beauty from when we were children to
Yes.
now have changed dramatically.
And
And
I love it.
does that mean that I'm like, say I had that standard of beauty before, but now that the standard, am I no longer attractive? I
Right.
mean, I'm not saying I
Right.
did have it, but saying, say somebody was the epitome of that standard of beauty. Are they no longer attractive?
Right.
No,
Exactly.
they're
Yep.
still attractive.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, well, we are about to wrap up here. This has been so fun.
It's been different.
I like being able to see you again.
Yes. That
Um,
makes it easier.
yes, and
Instead
I
of
will.
talking to my wall or whatever corner the Wi-Fi would work in. So this is much
Yes.
better.
If you've recently picked up the Four Agreements or if you've read it a long time ago, we'd love to hear your thoughts, how it's worked for you. Have you given it to your children? Have they read it? Because I don't know if either of mine have, even though I gave it to them a while ago. You can find us on our website, staceyandlynnpodcast.com. That's Stacey with an E and Lynn, Lynn. And we're on all the social media. You can find us on Facebook, Stacey and Lynn Podcast. Or it's not just you. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram. We'd love to hear from you and find out about the agreements that you are finding it easier to understand and which ones you're struggling with. And we will see you next week.
Stay safe.